自己紹介からおはよう、こんばんは、いらっしゃい。Vtuber 準備中のリコルーシューです。Good morning, good evening, and welcome. I'm Lico Lushu, a Vtuber in prep. 今日YouTube での初配信だけど、ちゃんと届いてるかな？ちょっと緊張するわ。まず今日はアークナイツのイベントバベルのストーリーを読もうとします。大体の話の流れはね、半年前 CN サーバーで公開された時、プレイしてて、ストーリーは中国語読めないから読めてはなかったんだけど、ネタバレをちょこちょこ読んじゃって、大体の流れは知ってる感じだね。早速始めようかな。はい、バベルだー。もうつらいよし、行くぞ。Unfinished goodbye. A speck of blood.A speck of blood red upon speckless white. 誰の字だよ。おい。A boy cries in his dreams. To weather the blizzard, a girl wraps him within her cloak and wipes his tears away.Freezing, gusting, the air screams on. Softly, the Cyclops tells of an epic tale, far, far away. サイクロプスっていた気がするな。誰だっけ？ミザリー？いや、ミザリーか。Through the snowstorm seams, her voice comes. The myriad souls calls become harmony with it. The boys' whimpers, the drum of their beat. The stream is bitter cold. Within, the girl seizes a faint breath. She covers the boy's eyes and closes her own.Even now, even here, for them, the ballad from 1,000 years ago is still playing. Armies fell upon her home, them I saw from afar. From valleys to hills, our lands they scarred. The king slaughtered.The myriad souls did lament. Yet one sovereign fell, 6 heroes rose. As they blew the horn, led the fight, faced their foes. Alas, the wandered city collapsed, to ruin swift as the fleeting peace lapsed. When all seemed lost,A black crown appeared. The twins brought hope where dread had reared. spreads the rift, giving birth to betrayal. An assassin in the heart of tempest. Them I saw from afar. A sword to slay the regent king, a spear to pierce the royal ring. Legend ends as justice calls, to righteous fate the mighty falls. これ翻訳ほんとよくできてるな。That is how this episode ends. ちゃんとライムライムやってるし。The Cyclops fades into the blizzard of a dreamscape, leaving the child behind her. The boy's own cries grow distant from his ears. He wakes. Summer 1094. Outskirts of an abandoned town, castle. That is how this episode ends, Ascalon. My story is over. That is what my people, the Cyclops bound for the deep north, saw as they gazed their last of castle. Was that a page from long lost history? A possible future yet to come? Or plain meaningless gibbering? Hi! Thanks for tuning in! None knew for the past millennium, until they came, and fate's rapids begin to narrow into a surer course. And now the fate she saw has drawn before our eyes. Ascalon めっちゃ欲しい。かっこいい。I don't care. I'm surprised you'd even hear me out. Bright red blood creeps along his mask, trickling down his chest. Ascalon's eyes narrow a hair. He's out of luck. You're about to die, so I gave you one last token of respect. Those prophecies never did not you. In all the time we knew each other, no? この人ウェンディゴかな? That's why you will never understand how a greedy soul thirsts to control his fate. Choose better last words. I know how you hurry to convene with those Babelmon's members. But it's not yet time for you to leave. Look, the catastrophe is near. Ah, funny. I'm curious now. What was it you found within the storm? Step aside. No commission left unfinished. The rule I set myself back when I was at the Scar Market. Life or... A dawn like mist is wound about the Cyclops' neck. Ah, Cyclops' neck, as Ascalon vanishes behind him, leaving his body to dangle over the cliff's edge. You ever seen your own end then? I don't care for prophecies. We have that in common, huh? The fact is, none of us can outrun fate. Don't you want to struggle out of it? What makes you not? Why can you not? How can you not? Never forget. You have your place in the prophecies too. Whimpering, storming. A plaintive chant rings in their ears, an elegy over the horizon, from the convalesce of the banshees, sucked into the storm's eye. Ascalon gives an involuntary shudder. She is ice cold from head to toe. An indescribable pain rips from behind her ears down to the soles of her feet. This nameless elegy, this ill omen. Farewell, Castle. A single sigh reaches Ascalon. Her hand tightens fast until not even the faintest sound will leave Scarai's throat again. Then she lets go. Damn fate. In a blink, the tremendous figure of the Cyclops becomes no more than a speck below the overhang. The mist gathers to the storm. The shadow of a hood goes with it. All vanishes within the teardrops falling from the cliff. Gasps. Rolls of thunder from catastrophe clouds. Whistles as the sand is swept across the barrens. The sound of everything culminates in silence. Londinium, Victoria. Now, lift your head, sarcasm of hers. If you would still see through the calling she bestows you, here stand. Come, step forth. You may avenge her. My name is stitched onto my clothes. Stitched by Her Highness Teresa's own hands. I can feel it faintly, burning right this moment. And I know what that means. The mission she assigned us is over. We'll clash with you no more. The sarcasms do not draw on each other before the invader. We pledge our loyalty to you, Regent. So long as you still hold your zeal and earnestness for the sarcasm, we will trust you with our lives. Even though you nearly ruined all the plans we'd set up in Victoria, should the military commission put us to death, we will be willing to die, as long as it could bring a better end. And then, an end as she wished. A moment ago, you were the renegades in chief, all but ready to entomb our plans. How could I possibly believe? Manfred. As she wished, you said. Your name, Deathmonger? Julie. I will remember it, and I will hand you your final mission. Guards, assassins, mercenaries, survivors of the sea bloodshed, one and all, you are to enter the mausoleum of kings. You are to render Victoria's iron heart as scrap, You are to ambush and wipe out every last steam knight. You'd let us take part in the Commission's core plan to enfeeble Londinium? Manfred will take good care of you. There's no chance we leave that place alive, is there? Well, welcome to fight for it. You're welcome to fight for it. Very well. What's keeping you here? I'm just taking it in and looking at the one who fostered Ascalon. She never rid herself of you. Oh. I swore to follow Her Highness Teresa, with no inkling that the tale of the mixed blood twins, rewriters of Castle's history, would end this way. 今月だったんだ。Let alone that this disposable life of mine had a place in it. Farewell, Your Highness Theresis. I take my hatred of you to the grave. Oh. プロデュース。おバベルか。よし。来たぞ。Rhodes Island of Babel. Is it Babel or Babel? I'll just say Babel. Okay. Rhodes Island of Babel. Castle. Keep going, Cassit. Never since the day she was born has this corridor felt so endlessly long to Cassit. Monster! Ah! Kawaii! My dam. Do not bury us. Castell's soil cannot hold any more traitors. Finish him. Cool. I know that. Even left your own, your step will never falter. Abia! Doctor! Naoto. System unresponsive. This is... Monster, cut the door down. Monster, meltdown. Right? Monster's so cute. You believe loneliness is yours alone, that you have none of the same kind. Yet, from the day you woke again, we have walked shoulder to shoulder, haven't we? Immortal empires turn to dust. Elder scepters rent in two under ancients' rallying cries. Pulses over the sky like a surge. The immutable rhythm of the stars. From resplendent glimmer to dull collapse. Death, rebirth, the all-encompassing cycle. She's ever so familiar with it. Kawaii. Teresa! Yet still, one day I'll choose to slow down, to stop and place where I am. When I do, Cassit, don't grieve. Keep going. これテレシエが言ってんだ。待って。あー、なるほどね。はあ、悲しすぎる。Cassie subconsciously searches her memories. Death, rebirth, the all-encompassing cycle. No, it's not the same this time, not quite. For the first time, she must bid to the first who could ever converse with her as an equal, to her dearest friend. Farewell. ドクターは？おい、ドクターは？Teresa. So, Cassie, it's time to say goodbye. Abia, Doctor. But I always say one day our wandering is bound to end. One day, the sarcasm, wandering, is bound to end. Now your wandering too has reached its endpoint. I knew full well this possibility always existed. Why? I should have stayed behind. It's my... Because I believe in Rhodes Island. I believe in Babel. I believe in you. Cassie, I hope the Rhodes can be a place you name home, an island you may always return to. I already did everything I could do. I won't harbor a complaint for my own end. Babel's mission is concluded, while you and this landship have only just set sail. I am not the same kind as you, Calcit. I cannot explain away your puzzlement, but I have always been your companion. Then, now, and after, I will always be with you all. Now. Ah, Teresia. もう泣けるけど辛すぎ。次行きます。64 years ago. Okay. Autumn 1030. Scar Market Castle. You protect this tag around your neck with your life. You're my precious property, slave. You understand? You'd better be worth something. Oh. Stay here and don't move. You inspect the goods? Slave trader casts a glance at the a silent slave behind the mercenary's back, then slightly shakes his head. Where'd you get it? Found him on my way here, dying of thirst and about to become mangler chow. Thought he could fetch a good price. I came from Castle. I could find someone who... Doesn't matter to us where you're from, slave. Say you're Higashinese for all we care, as long as someone buys you out. I'm just checking if you got a tail. You never know where these mercs get their goods. I promise you he's clean. You better not be messing with me. Cash or barter. Ain't gonna live long enough for money to mean something. Give me some good weapons. You're the boss. He's second rate at best. That'll knit you 2 blades freshly cast. How about you take another look with your eyes open this time? You can dress him up as a first rate, but it won't change anything. If you don't like our offer, feel free to get lost. And put that machete of yours away. This is a scar market you're in. Can you throw in more? I was out on the Lithuanian border before I got back. I've got first-hand intel about the whole war in the core. Well, here's something for nothing. Careful what you spew out of that mouth if you want to stay alive here. Nothing around you have valuable first-hand intel? You wanna guess where that'll get you? Leave the goods and scram. You're holding up the line. Ugh. Not happy? Drown your sores in the bar. Our boss, Scar Eye, brews one heck of a drink. Doesn't matter if you can't pay your tab, they'll take your weapons as collateral. Collateral, Merc. 生きてたんかい One more thing. Where do you run your bounty board? I'm here to strike it rich. Bar folk will be happy to inform you. Beep. The merc stares around this floating hub, hidden away in the giant subterranean hollow beneath the castle. 地下だったんか. Amidst the moans of the slaves, the faint yet constant rumble of lava and bursts of originium dust can be heard rising from beneath the market. Eyeing the rugged path behind him, the mercenary recalls the perils he faced to reach here from the surface and shudders. Just how many people are there in that goddamn chasm? Enough to break your fall if you jumped. Welcome to the Scar Market, Greenhorn. You'll love it here. What's the deal over there? Why the crowd? Probably another big name just rolled back into town. Aren't you here to strike it rich? Go on then. I'd rather keep my horns out of all that mess. The merc vaguely makes out a pale white figure flitting through the chaotic gloom of the street. White clothes? You don't see that every day in Castle. Oh, you were injured. Tell me something I don't know. You're... Last time I was here, it was someone else handling transactions. Yes. You're referring to my grandfather. He never stopped bragging about how he'd fought you and lived. I'm surprised you remember him. In a good sense, though. That means he wasn't lying all this time. It must have been 60 years ago by now. Teresis って何歳なんだよ? General Teresis. あんなに若そうなのに。でも今月か。なんとなんだろう。Already, how sad nothing here has changed at all. I imagine with Her Highness here, too, There'll be no more violence this time, eh? Even if things get bloody, eventually you'll leave. But we'll always be here, General. We'll always have business, so long as Castle's unrest never rests. Even now, I remember one thing my grandpa mentioned in his boasts. He said to you, "It's the land of Castle that needs us." Teresis looks at the slaves, their heads down in their cages. He draws his sword. War and turmoil have necessitated this trade for over a century. This scar market. General, provided you can reach the surface alive, take a fresh look at Castle. Much of what you know will soon change. All Sarkaz will be part of this change. All? Us too? Yes. I'm not inclined to explain our vision to the likes of you, but I will stay here for a while longer and wait for her return. Until then, I welcome you mercenaries to challenge me. Just as 60 years ago, I will take you to Castle, willingly or otherwise. His voice isn't loud, but every sarcasm present hangs on to his every word. The mixed blood sarcasm stands alone. No retinue, no army, armed only with an ordinary-looking longsword, casually held in the hand that wields it. His steely gaze pierces through the dim of the street, settling calmly in the direction of the only person he cares for. Teresia. You can dismiss the mercenaries in an ambush. No doubt, they're your most trusted men. This is out of my respect for the King of Sarkaz. None aside from the General can claim to know your true motives after all. Your Highness, do you believe that this can change the fate of the Sarkaz? That you're not just another ill-fated hero caught in this cycle of hope and failure? Once the dust has all settled, your answer will come naturally. Following that Pyrrhic victory, we built from zero a moving city, a great nomad of Sarkaz soil for over a century now. We can evade catastrophes and foreign armies. Our development has finally reached a point of basic self-sufficiency. But it's so far from enough. The storm has long been brewing on the horizon, but we were too oblivious. Like burden beasts, too slow to react, too old to move. Your Highness must be referring to that war between Laitanian and Gaul. Surely you too are aware of the magnitude of that war? Corsica first even secretly hired our royal court casters as his consultants. But despite a period of seclusion, Laitanian's Witch King thwarted Gaul's offenses with his opening move. And now, Ursus and Victoria have also declared war on Gaul. じゃあこれって現在から10から15年ほど前かな? These present empires display a might so far removed from the enemy 130 years ago, against which we staked all a castle just to barely prevail. That was already a victory in name only. If Castle must now be thrust into the same situation, How could it possibly end? It is for this end that you wish to establish the military commission of Castle. Yet, the old aristocrats of the royal court grow resentful, refusing to relinquish their sumptuous city lives and viewing this as an attempt to challenge their privileges. A century of peace is enough for certain memories to slip their minds. So what made you deign to come here in person? Do you see the Scar Market as the royal court for the bottom feeders, where the likes of us skate by and make merry? My only hope for more sarcasm to join us and resist the voices that refuse to embrace change. Resist? Perhaps your highness meant terrorize and purge. What I want is a reform, not a slaughter. So, what's the reward? The Scar Market's not a real royal court. What we have with the mercenaries is partnership, not fealty. Without compensation, no one will work for us. Reward? Are the spoils of war not enough? Are the riches, power, or food that should have gone to the hungry people not enough to sate your appetite? You claim to provide shelter and a livelihood for countless Sarkaz warriors with your rhetoric of justice. Yet I could almost hear their bones crunch as you squeeze them dry for profit. Sorry, but in this business, we eat people whole and chew on their bones. Scar-Eye, you too are Sarkaz. You too are a part of Castle. While Teresa cannot see what expression lies behind Scar-Eye's mask, his emotions are clear as day before her pitch-black crown. No commoner in Castle would ever defy the royal court. But in his emotions, all Teresa sees is fervor and bloodthirst. You won't refuse. Why would I? Do you think I'm scared they'll take revenge on me? The royal court's no mystery to me, your highness. Your highness knows that plenty well. Let me say, you've promised me, no doubt, the best reward I could ask for. We thrive on chaos. And I can see the level of chaos you will bring upon Castle. The fact that you've kept the name Scar tells me that your ideas haven't changed. Like you said, the nations of Terra have grown tremendously in power over the last century. We could throw more revenants into the soul furnace and stoke its flames, but it'll not close that gap. So why force the people who aren't really of the same race to band together, call themselves Sarkaz, and build a giant target called Castle? The war between the four superpowers have proven that other Terra nations can accept our existence as mercenaries, and that's where Scar Market comes in. And your highness surely knows that we've become a community, a town, because many of us could never fit into the elitist bloodline-obsessed royal court. In all these years, I may have helped just as many Sarkaz find a new way of life as the 6 heroes, if not even more. And I'm not the least bit ashamed to say it, your highness, King of Sarkaz. Teresa doesn't reply. All she offers is a faint smile at the Cyclops. It suddenly occurs to Scar-Eye that this king of sarcasm belongs to no royal court and represents no bloodline. Her sole aim is to persuade the sarcasts who are unwilling to believe that castle can be built, some of whom have even committed crimes for this cause, to believe once more. But is she enough to break free from this cycle of tragic failures, from the ending he foresaw? Come to think of it. Come to think of it, there's one thing I don't get, Your Highness. I might have agreed to help you, but why didn't you and General Teresa's simply burn this plane to the ground before the day's end? I would have little chance of winning if you decided to do so. Just like you did 60 years ago. A minute ago, you described Castle as nothing but a target, that you want another way for the sarcasts to live. One that would have them depend on other nations. Yes. So tell me, in your prophetic visions, have you seen Castle's destruction? Have you seen my death? Teresa's death? And the destruction of all that you stand against? And what about yourself? How do you behold your death? A slow and agonizing death by Eurypathy? Slain in battle on foreign soil? Or drowned in a sea of plots and conspiracies? Have you ever left this place and seen Castle as it is now? Have you ever truly seen the future? Is this your way of asking for a prophecy? I don't give out handouts, but for your highness, I'll consider a discount. Such nerve. No wonder you are able to claw your way out of this bleakness and rebuild this mercenary's paradise. But I'll pass on the prophecy. ちょっとお水飲みます。よし。ああ。声どうしたんだ。ああ。よし。But I'll pass on the prophecy. Prophecies and fate have no value. It's getting late. I look forward to your return to Castle. He watches her go and heaves a long sigh only when even her footsteps fall from earshot. Son of a bitch. Foresight? Prophecies? His own death? He bought his coffin this very morning. はあ、見たんか。そっか。Tally up the losses. Boss the slaves. Set them free. Bound to get tangled up in the scar market after the war begins anyway. At most, we lose out on pocket change. Did anyone take on General Teresa's and survive? Yes, I've noted them all down. Take them to supplies for a little reward. They've got real balls. When you're done, take them to the bar entrance and kill them all in front of everyone. Send their heads to General Teresa's as an apology. Got it. Send their rewards to whatever family and friends they have as bereavement. Tell every merc looking for living in the Scar Market. I don't want to see anyone trying funny shit on my turf. He heads alone to the bar, the tags on his cloak jangling in his steps. He stands prominently in the crowd, watching as the blades take the light from the mercenary's eyes. Still, no one fights back. Utter disappointment. Drinks are on the house tonight, both to celebrate the two highnesses sparing your lives, and to celebrate the huge gig you've all just landed. Your objective is in Castle. Get your shit ready. Soon you're all gonna be in the city. Secret entrance of Scar Market Castle. You've been quiet for some while now, Teresa. Are you hesitating? No, I have confidence in you. A reshuffle of the War Council is inevitable. It's just... I've been thinking about the city's future. War won't stop itself at Gaul. Our pace has fallen too far behind. Corsica first commands an indomitable fleet of dreadnoughts and guard battalions. The Mad King of Lytanian has more than his arts in his arsenal to effect Gaul's failure. The industrial might of both Ursus and Victoria in the throes of a large-scale war has far surpassed our imaginations. Many assume to know war like the back of their hands simply by living long enough through it. If our concept of war still lingers on the Greek battle from a century ago, then we have drastically underestimated how quickly wars can nourish empires and fuel dictatorships. This is exactly why we need a military commission. It's more than that, Traces. I know. When the day comes, when the Sarkas wish to live on, if a brittle, creaking city is all they have to call their own, it'll be far from enough. Do you remember the idea I proposed back when Cassett was designing the city's blueprints with us? Babel. To transcend the borders of race and nation, to echo far and wide in our ideals, in our epics. Founded by our Sarkas, we will prepare Castle for the coming crisis, strive to eradicate the poverty and disease that have plagued them for millennia, and send a message to all of Terra. There will come a future when we all stand as one. The Sarkas, too, are part of Terra's destiny. This is not the first Teresa's has heard of her idea. Apart from them, who left after helping build the nomadic city of Castle many years ago, he alone knows the true belief of the current king of Sarkas. Castle won't accept this, Babel. You and I both know that well. It's but a dream of attempting to subvert reality. Yes, for now at least. We can't be talking of such grand ideals while even our own affairs are slipping away from us. It's my hope this Babel can become a part of Castle, Rhesus. Are you prepared then? As I said before, it's not just the other nations that will oppose you. Castle and the Sarkas clinging to their hatred will also stand against you. It is cruel to force them to forgive and forget. The persecution of the Sarkas is not history. The ancient hatred is what drives many to survive until this day. I am the king of Sarkas. The responsibility is all mine to bear. I must show them a way out of this. I see. Then go. Do what you will. Teresa, I still do not approve of your vision, but I do support your decision. And the future military commission will, too. If your gaze is set too far to see what lies before you, then I shall sweep away all that obstructs you at the moment, just as always. いやー、いい兄弟だ。I know. Come, let's go home. Castle still needs us for what's about to happen. Oh yes, Scar, I mentioned the prophecy again as I was leaving. The signs of a pessimistic fate. And your reaction? I don't care. Agreed. Castle, a strange yet familiar name. Many from this great land see it as the pit from which devils crawl, a terrible place to be avoided at all costs. While to the Sarkas, the name only evokes equally conflicted emotions. Despite generations of Sarkas passing on the castles, Castle is the Sarkas' homeland. An outsider might wonder if they mean the city or the entirety of those lands. Perhaps only they themselves know. It never struck me on the way out just how high this wall is. Oh well, at least I can go home alive now. That means I'm pretty lucky. But man, the Scar Market. That was General Teresa's, the first of this city's founders, the hero of that legendary campaign. If I had the courage to ask him to take me in, maybe I could have just... I'm dreaming again. He sits atop the high wall, experiencing for the first time a new lease on life. Few Castle civilian Sarkas, save for those children who haven't yet cottoned onto the fear of death, ever climb onto the city wall. If the tremendous pipes and tubes piled high can even be called a wall, the intricately tangled forest of origin spikes can take the lives of anyone who loses their footing, but it also serves as a haven for pilferers and mercenaries to stash their goods. Smugglers and vagrants cross through the dark underground, peeking out from the tunnels and drains at mines and factories, scuttling from one corner of the city to another. The life the slave once knew. The general gave me a fresh start, so what should I do from now on? He gazes at the furnace, burning and smoldering far away, teeming with indiscernible workers as they carry uranium, steel, dirt, and stones into its hearth. To Castle, the nomad, its flames bring motion, while the molten metal that flows out adds new appendage to the city. For a whole century, it's belched its incessant black smoke. None know whether it's ash or uranium dust. Some say it's the bitter anger and anguish as the revenants exhale their last breaths. Witchcraft altars hang high in the sky, and intermittently flashing their blinding rays. The slave has heard many different versions of this urban legend. The most frightening version claims that the royal accords casters work day and night on the altars, watching everything and listening to every conversation in the city. Maybe I can try my luck at the factories too. It doesn't matter what else. I've made it back alive. It's been months since I left. I don't know how many of my friends are still alive. The nomadic city of Castle. 아, じゃあカスデルもカスデルって2つあるんだ。なんかニューヨーク的な？うん。ピー。What happened here? Why are all the doors open and the furniture all smashed? Pull top! You're back! It's you! What are you doing here? Where'd you get that ornament? Something big is happening. Royal court nobles are being dragged out of their houses and killed by mercenaries appearing from nowhere, while the city guards do nothing. A lot of us have been sneaking into the empty houses, and boy, we have stretched up some good stuff. How are you still alive, though? Word got out you wanted to leave the city and find your own way, and after so long, we assumed you died out there. You won't believe my luck. First, I was left to die without food or water. Then I was taken to the Scar Market. And guess what? General Theresis saved my life. The general himself. Then on the way home, I ran into this guy with a halo over his head. Huh? With a halo over his head, calling himself a messenger. And he brought me all the way back to the city wall. 誰だ? サンクタ? 誰? So I've decided to change my name to Good Luck, starting today. You guys can forget the lousy old name of mine. The guy with the halo? The Sancta? And then the general? You sure learned how to lie, Good Luck. Believe me or don't. But either way, today is a fresh new start for me. I'm gonna go be a miner. I looted a... How do you pronounce this? Nazir's house earlier and found some hot air balloons. Wanna lodge me on one and put that luck of yours to good use? I'm in! 楽しそう。Well, that was fast. Man, it feels good to be home. Good luck glances around at the people swarming the street. This is the life he knows. If he wants to survive, the city will always offer him a way. Thank you, Fate. And thank you, General. やっぱ長いな。インターメッツォだからかな。配信この枠始めて1時間経ったけど、ずっと読み続けたらやっぱ喉がカラカラだな。一旦お水飲みます。どうしよう。さすがに全部は読めないな、配信では。てかまあ長さも長さだけど読む速度もかなり遅いしね。じゃあ今日はここまでにしようかな。じゃあ今日はここまでにして締めたいと思います。もし見てくれた方がいたらありがとう。もしアーカイブで見てる人がいたらあなたにもありがとう伝えたいです。あと11月2日だっけ？11月2日に1社出るとロゴスのガチャが出るんですけど、まあロゴスずっと半年間狙って石集めてきたんで、ちょっと天井ぶち壊す配信をやろうと思います。じゃあ多分次の配信は11月の1日かな。よかったら見てください。じゃあ今日はこれでおしまい。バイバイ。ありがとう。コメントお疲れ様でした。バイバイ。